Some people have hobbies. This man's hobby is community service. Meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio. We're focused on the March of Dimes, and we're visiting with the chairman of the PD division of the March of Dimes, Nick Sherfesee. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks so much for being with us. It's so exciting to think we're a little more than 2 months away from the Horry County Walk America on April 3rd. It's really getting close.
It's coming fast, and we had our kickoff last week, and we're ready to go, and we're ahead of schedule, and looks like it's going to be a dynamite walk this year.
You had 2 kickoffs last week. The Horry County one on Tuesday, and I think the Georgetown County one on Thursday night.
That's right. So everybody's all pumped up, and we're excited about being able to do some good things for babies.
How do the walks work, Nick, for viewers in the PD or southeastern North Carolina or even here on the Strand that may not know how the Walk Americas work around the country, but particularly in our community? How are funds raised?
Well, funds are raised in many, many different ways for the Walk America, but the most important thing is, if we can remember years ago when the children used to go from door to door and walk for dimes. That's where the March Dimes started. They had the little cards. We put the dimes in them. Mm-hmm. Now we have walker cards, and anyone who's interested in going out and walking and raising money can take that packet by their neighbors, their friends, their aunts, their uncles, their church, their barber, whoever, and raise money for the March of Dimes. We call walkers folks who actually raise money. Sometimes they can't actually go walk, but they can go raise money and turn in their envelope and be part of a very wonderful charity that does an awful lot of good things. Other companies and put together teams,
right? And
there's a lot of emphasis on corporate teams and company teams and organization teams. Like here in Horry County, our schools have been great supporters.
Really?
So we have a lot of the kids out there raising money and out there walking.
And the kids seem to understand what the March of Dimes is all about.
I think so. You know, 1 child in 8 that is born in the United States and in South Carolina too is born prematurely. So these children have brothers, sisters, and cousins. They see it, they know it. It's all around us, everywhere. So they understand, particularly if they've had a sibling that was born and spent some time in the neonatal care unit. They know.
Nick, I think I saw the number 460,000 babies, plus or minus, are born annually too soon.
Too soon.
That's a dramatic number.
Too soon and too small. And you know what, Greg? Since 1981, the number of premature births in the United States has grown by 27%.
Really?
And
why?
We don't know why.
And the March of Dimes is just working to get the facts and figures out to let mothers know or parents know in general what they can do to help slow down premature births.
Not only that with the education, but also a lot of money is being spent on research to help stem this growing tide. We would like to reduce prematurity by 15% between now and 2007. And that's a very heady goal, particularly when the numbers are going in the other direction. Economically, too, it takes a great toll. Last year, $13.6 billion was spent on neonatal care for babies that were born too soon and too small.
13.6 billion?
Billion.
You were kidding.
No.
I had no idea those numbers were that.
The cost of a child in a neonatal care unit that was born premature is about 10 times greater than the average newborn birth. So it's a very expensive situation for our entire economy. I mean, it's huge.
How are those expenses covered, Nick? I mean, that's amazing for a parent, for for a couple or a young woman who's had a child? I mean, how does that happen?
Well, it's very, very difficult, and we just have to figure out what is causing this and see what we can do to stem the tide. We really don't know, and March of Dimes research is very hard at work to try to find the cause and then to educate. You know, Greg, when the March of Dimes was founded back in the 30s with President Roosevelt, we didn't have the answer to polio either. And through March of Dimes research, a cure was found. Hopefully, with this prematurity, that we'll be able to find causes and educate and help stem the tide.
So the March of Dimes was founded to raise funds to find a cure to polio. That happened.
Right.
So there really is that goal to find a cure to premature birth, to find out the way to stop that.
Absolutely.
It can happen.
It can happen.
That's so important. You know, today, January 30th, we're right 2 months and a week from the walk, from the Horry County Walk America on April 3rd.
Right.
If a viewer in the PD or southeastern North Carolina just wanted to be a part of a walk throughout the PD division, what would be the best phone number for them to call, Nick?
Very easy.
Okay.
843
Right.
488
Right.
DIME.
DIME.
DIME 3463.
3463. 488-3463 or 488
DIME.
How important, and that is a heck of a lot. And the PD division are a heck of a lot of counties, Nick, that you're chairing up there.
Right.
Do you travel throughout the PD division and visit different walks? Or
It is my goal this year to try to attend the kickoffs and as many of the walks as I can. My goal is to try to be at every one.
It's a huge commitment.
In Horry County alone, in April, we will have 2 walks. The March of Dimes Horry County Myrtle Beach Walk will be held on the 3rd at the Pavilion.
Right.
And then on the 24th, on National Walk Day, we'll have our walk in Loris.
Okay. Is that now? And then the Georgetown Walk is when?
That's also on the 24th.
Okay. Right. Big day. You'll be doing a lot of rolling. You and Joe Fisher and whomever else will be doing a lot of.
We'll be burning up the highways.
Yes, absolutely. We were so excited, a couple months back to be with Joe and so many of the folks over in we were at Marion County or Marion Regional Healthcare, and had folks in both from the Marion walks as well as the Marlborough County walk. It was amazing to see the commitment, as well as the ambassador baby and her parents who came in to talk about why they were doing it and why the March of Dimes meant so much to them. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is wonderful. There's so much enthusiasm. March of Dimes has always been known for the quality of its volunteers. There's good cause. There is a definite, well-defined mission. It touches all of our lives. Those of us who were fortunate enough to have children that were born healthy, we can thank God for that, and also thank the March of Dimes that perhaps the research and the funding for March of Dimes efforts may have helped our children be born healthy. So we're thankful for that. But almost all of us have known family members or very close friends who have had children that were born too soon or too small. As a matter of fact, Greg, the largest cause of infant death is due to prematurity.
Is that right?
Yes. So, I mean, it's touching so many families in so many different ways. So the folks get excited. It's for a great cause. And then when they see success stories like our ambassador babies and go, yes, it does work. It's wonderful.
Let's talk about, let's say, the Horry County Walk America Ambassador Baby. The March of Dimes each year selects an ambassador baby and their family to help out on some of the fundraising efforts, just to help spotlight a child, a particular child. I think we learned over the Marion County Walk, that child leads the walk. There's the policemen and the other folks leading the walk, and then the parents with that child, leading all the walkers the day of the walk, and powerful message there. What are some of the other ways the ambassador families help work to raise funds?
Well, our ambassador family this year, the Wilsons, have volunteered to talk to any group anywhere in Horry County that would be interested in hearing their story and the wonderful success story of Parker, their baby. Parker was born on February 4th, 2003. He was just a little bit over a pound. And He is now 11 months old, and he now weighs 11 pounds. So he is a little kid, but he's in good shape and he's doing well. And we're really proud to have the Wilsons as our ambassador family. But Mrs. Wilson has made it very, very clear that she will go anywhere. All we have to do is call the office and set it up. She'll talk to schools. She'll talk to churches. She'll talk to businesses, civic groups and organizations, whatever it takes to get the March of Dimes story out there. Because she feels like that her baby is alive today because of March of Dimes.
Wow, Nick. Well, I'm so sorry I wasn't there last Tuesday when y'all had the kickoff up there at Pine Lakes. I'm sure that was a spectacular turnout. And that commitment in each of these communities, Nick, y'all have an ambassador family.
Right.
And so even if she couldn't travel to Hartsville, let's say, there is somebody there, or to Dillon County, or to Dillon, of course, the walks in May, I believe, or Lake City. There are walks in so many of these communities, and there's an ambassador family that wants to get out and share that message.
Right. Every walk has their own ambassador family. So that Parker is ours in the Myrtle Beach, Horry County area, and then each individual community will have their own ambassador.
It is so vital when you think of the commitment. Of course, you talked about parent education. There's the premature birth aspect, genetic research, health care, just working to help save babies. There's so many aspects when you lay out what the March of Dimes is doing on a daily basis and what those ambassador families are doing.
Yes, it's kind of amazing. And all it would take is to go into a neonatal care unit one time to see the March of Dimes in action. March of Dimes Funding and Research founded the very first NICU, and they're literally all over the country now, and they're helping to save babies' lives every day. And also, too, just a few years ago, March of Dimes Research led the way in helping cure or helping diminish greatly the incidence of neural tube defects like spina bifida. By just educating newborn mothers-to-be about the need for taking folic acid every day. And just a simple thing like that took South Carolina from the highest incidence of neural tube defects in the country to a benchmark for the rest of the country, lowered the incidence by over 80%.
You were kidding.
Just through the education efforts led by the March of Dimes.
That is incredible. That is incredible. So there really is that ability, not only on the education side, but to truly make a difference. You know, you hear about, last week we had a guest, Rhonda Weatherford, who's heading up the PD Walk to Cure Diabetes, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, an event coming up sometime very soon. It was fascinating hearing her talk about that work to find a cure to diabetes and talking about the March of Dimes efforts there, and obviously the Heart Association. At times you think, how could these groups, or why would these groups really want to find a cure? I mean, you know, it's these folks are out of jobs then, but they are that committed, and you're that committed to the March of Dimes, Nick, more to get the message out to find a cure.
Right. Right. Well, you know, the March of Dimes met their mission one time when polio was cured. And then they had this wonderful group of dedicated volunteers and administration, and they said, okay, what else can we do?
Right.
And, you know, polio was called infantile paralysis. And it was geared, mostly young people were the ones that were affected. So March of Dimes kept their focus on the young ones and have continued to work for things that can make babies and children's lives better.
Nick, one thing we failed to do early on was for me to ask you your entrance into the area. How long have you been, or are you born and bred in South Carolina?
Oh, no, I was born and bred in the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area and came to the Citadel in 1961. 1961. So I've been down here for a while.
Almost 43 years. How long, and you've remained in South Carolina the whole time?
Oh, no, I left in 1967 and traveled the country in the banking industry and moved here to Myrtle Beach in 1993.
Okay, great, good. And you're still with a financial institution?
I'm with Wachovia Bank.
Oh, great, yeah. Well, there are a lot of viewers throughout our viewing area to be familiar with the Wachovia Bank.
Right.
And am I correct, you're the community banker?
I'm the community banker.
For Horry and Georgetown County?
For just Horry County.
Okay. With the merger with First Union, Wachovia's market share had grown to the point where
we needed to have a separate market presence down in Georgetown County.
Right, absolutely.
So,
How do you find the time to do all you're doing, Nick? And it was amazing going down your bio and seeing so many of the community activities you're involved in. How do you find the time?
well, I am just blessed to have a wonderful wife that is in agreement and supports me in those activities. And we do a lot of them in the evening, and we do a lot of them together. The bank also, as part of their commitment to the community, has made certain that each and every employee has time that they are to give back to the community every month. So it's really kind of nice that Wachovia encourages us to be involved.
I'm just looking down at a couple of them, Nick, and there are about 20 listed here, aside from being the chairman of the PD division of the board of directors for the March of Dimes, the chairman of the local board for Horry and Marion counties, the U.S. Selective Service Board since 1998, the president of the Waccamaw Housing since 1994, board of directors for the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, the Mental Health Association in Horry County, the board of directors and the chairman back in the late 90s. It is incredible, aside from so many of the other activities here, even that Kim has enabled you to find time, or that Dale allows you to get out there, blows my mind.
Well, it's people have their hobbies. My hobby is volunteering.
It's community service.
Yes. And I enjoy it so much.
That is fantastic. Wow, well, that would be a great way to wrap the show, but we got another 10 minutes. And did you have a personal experience, Nick, that prompted you to get active with the March of Dimes? I saw you started walking in 1990 with the March of Dimes.
Actually, no, I didn't have a personal experience that directly affected my life, but my employer at the time encouraged us to get involved in the March of Dimes. It was a corporate focus that they support the March of Dimes, and all the employees do everything they could. Got involved and started receiving some of that March of Dimes education, and had a good time. Saw what it was doing to help babies, and realized that 92 cents on every dollar that I raised went directly to programs, and there's not too many charities anywhere that can operate that well and do that much good. So I figured it was worth my time, and the more I got involved, the more I wanted to become involved. So
that is a very high rate, the 92 cents of every dollar.
It's incredibly high.
That's amazing.
But that's why we need the strong core of dedicated volunteers, people like you, people like everyone in our community can go out and touch a family or a child that needs this help. And besides the actual walk where we're raising money for babies, it's held the first weekend in April, a little 6-mile stroll on the beach. How much more fun than that? I mean,
it's 6 miles?
6 miles, yeah. It's fun. Yeah. I mean, 6 miles on the beach is...
You know, a viewer who wanted to help out could still get active. I mean, April 3rd, today's January 30th, so there's a good ways out if they call the 488-DIME number.
They call the 488-DIME number. We have 100 different ways that we can get you involved.
Right.
In raising money, in helping out with the office, and helping with some administration. But mainly, we need folks to go out and raise funds for the March of Dimes. It can be done by selling Beanie Babies and chocolate candy bars and lollipops and even those little paper sneakers that you see hung all over the walls of businesses in Horry County. Oh, yeah. And last year we raised about $130,000 locally. This year we're looking for a great bit more.
Spectacular. Dennis Wade is your chairman this year.
Dennis Wade is our chairman. What a great chairman to have. Dennis is just a wonderful, dedicated guy that puts his heart into everything, and it's going to be wonderful. Our finance chair is Bobby Kelly.
Right.
And you have a lot of energy there with Bobby, and he has a great core of folks out there helping him.
When Dennis called the Myrtle Beach Herald to twist some arms there to get them on board, I think he said one of the great things was, Greg, you'll not only see Wachovia on these walker forms, you'll also see other banks making a commitment. It was exciting to see both Wachovia and Bank of America. Right. Folks can work together. Even competitors, the direst of competitors, can work together to find a cure to a premature birth.
That's right. I mean, this is not an exclusive event. This is a community event. It's a national event, and these are things that we need to do for all of us. So even though we do get some advertising benefit from it, the reality is that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it to help the babies.
I saw WBTW as the exclusive TV sponsor both in the Florence area and the Horry County Walk, which is exciting. They were on there along with Blue Cross Blue Shield and the Myrtle Beach Herald and others. It's an amazing commitment of folks that have really going to make this happen.
We really appreciate the entire spectrum of community support. It's wonderful.
Give the viewers, I know you talked about the original setting up was to raise funds to find a cure to polio, and obviously that happened, but a brief history of, was the words March of Dimes applicable to an actual fundraising walk, a march, or how did that happen, Nick?
It was the Mother's March of Dimes is how it really got started, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, back during the Depression, was disturbed. Of course, you know, he had polio. And wanted to try to find a cure for polio. And they designed these little cards that had slots in them, and they were given to mothers and children, and they would go out and walk door to door asking for dimes so that they could fill up their card and send it into the White House. And that started the March of Dimes. It actually was a period of time where children and their mothers would go out and walk door to door to raise dimes for the March of Dimes.
And I think when Maureen Vicari was with us over at the Radisson, when we were focused on the Star Chefs event, I want to ask you real quick about that. She talked about a radio DJ who was particularly excited and really pumping up getting all these dimes sent across the country. Do you know about that?
I'm not too familiar with that.
Okay, that's right. And Joe Fisher's also talked about that. We need to get that out, Nick. There was some DJ who pumped it up so nationally folks would send tons of dimes into the Capitol.
Well, it was a huge success, and I'm dating myself now, but I can remember in the early 50s with my little card, and then they moved it from dimes to quarters, you know. So
yeah, that's right. That's right.
So we had the cards, and we went out and did that, and the formal big walks started later than that. But March of Dimes was the first charity to have the major walks like we see now with the Heart Walk and the other walks.
Yeah.
But the March of Dimes was the first one.
I did not know that. We've got a couple of minutes, Nick, and I want to segue real quick, just because you said when I was growing up. It made me think about Philadelphia. And for viewers who've never visited that area, Nick, what is it about Philadelphia that would encourage someone to... Do you still get back there?
I get back there occasionally. I have a brother and a sister that live in the area. It is the cradle of our democracy. Just to go and see what our founding fathers were all about and doing, just to go touch the Liberty Bell.
Liberty Bell, yeah.
To go into Independence Hall. It's just full of great history, and also in South Philadelphia they got the best cheesesteaks in the world.
Well, that's a reason to travel.
Absolutely.
That's great, Nick. As I think about all your activities with so many groups, you know, a certain question would jump up. What do you like best about what you're doing with the March of Dimes? Of course, we know what you like about banking. You've enjoyed that for, golly, a heck of a long time, for almost 40 years now. What do you like best about your volunteer service to the March of Dimes since 1990?
Greg, all you have to do is hold Parker Wilson. See him. That answers it all. That's why you're doing it. And when you get to talk to his mother, and his mother's so happy, and she tells his story, and she chokes back the tears because she has her baby with her. It's what it's all about.
That's powerful. That's powerful. We got to still have a couple of minutes, and I was thinking about that Star Chefs event, Nick. That was such a spectacular fundraiser over at the Radisson, the Myrtle Beach Convention Center Hotel. And anything in particular from that night that inspired you to keep doing that year after year?
Well, the event itself was a wonderful event. The food was incredibly good. The auction items were wonderful. The community support was terrific. The bottom line for that evening, because of the great support that we received from the entire community, the March of Dimes raised $55,000 that night.
You're kidding. That is spectacular.
It was wonderful. It was just wonderful. And everyone I talked to that went said, what a great evening and what a great party. It was a lot of fun. And it was all for a great cause.
It was. And y'all are going to do that again?
We will, this coming October.
Great.
We'll do it again, and we're looking forward to it. We're already getting our committees together to get it done, and hopefully next year we can top $60,000.
That would be spectacular. Nick, if you weren't currently the community banker for Wachovia here in Horry County, what do you think you'd be doing?
I most probably would be working full-time for somebody like the March of Dimes, where I can see my hard work and others' hard work and their dedication pay off in helping save babies' lives.
The words are simple, saving babies together. He works for a company that gives him the time to get out and really make a commitment to the community. We're visiting with a guy whose simple words were, some folks have hobbies. My hobby is community service. Nick Sherfesee, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People coming up next. The event, the Horry County Walk America. The date is Saturday, April 3rd. The place is the Myrtle Beach Pavilion. Registration's at 9. The walk kicks off at 10. If you want to learn more, call the March of Dimes office for the PD division at 843-488-3463.